there's a little pass rush talk. Now let's move along here to something else I wanted to hit on. Let's talk a little wide receiver room. It's kind of exciting. We drafted 2 receivers this year. Obviously, they took one in the first round, and first time since 2002. And I remember that when I became a Packer fan around 2003, I remember Javon Walker. I remember, like, if you're wondering, oh, Clayton, why were you so late to the party becoming a Packer fan? As I've told this story before, I was a college football fan. I loved college football. Didn't watch much pro football. My brother, in and out of the Army, when he was in on leave from overseas, from the Persian Gulf and Desert Storm and everything, he would come home, and he was a big Steelers fan, and he got me watching pro football, and I loved it. And then when he went back, got redeployed and all that, it kind of took that out of me, that sad time that my big brother was having to go back over there where missiles were being fired and all that. And I just kind of stepped away from it. Like, it was almost like it was this special thing that was just for me and him, And long story short, when he gets out of the military and we move in together down there in Knoxville, Tennessee, I'm like, man, I'm going to become a big UT ball fan. I love college football. I'm going to follow them now that I'm in town. And we got to watch an NFL, and I just fell in love with it. And then, of course, I've told the story about how I just discovered the Green Bay Packers history, because I'm a big history nerd. It's like, oh, man, this is my team right here. You kidding me? I literally bought a DVD set, watched the history of the Green Bay Packers, watched the Ice Bowl, the old broadcast version. And 2 weeks later, I was at Lambeau Field watching them play the Bears in week 1. I'm pretty sure it was week 1 alumni game. It was 03 or 04, somewhere around that time. But Javon Walker was already on the team. That's where I was going. So obviously taking Matthew Golden, first round wide receiver since 2002. And then, of course, getting Savion Williams, as I'm continuing to say, man, you don't know. He may end up being better than Golden, but I'm really excited about both these guys. So what I did was put a little article together, 3 things to watch for with the 2025 Green Bay Packers wide receiver room. All right. So in the intro, just the Green Bay Packers wide receiver room is poised for a dynamic overhaul in the 2025 season with fresh talent, injury concerns, and intense roster battles after a 2024 season that saw quarterback Jordan Love ranked 5th in the NFL with 69 passes thrown, 20-plus yards downfield. The receiver group is crucial to elevating the passing game and competing in the NFC North. Here are the top 5 storylines to watch for as the Packers wide receiver room takes shape in 2025. So obviously at the top of the list is the Christian Watson injury. When is he going to return? Right? That's the big thing that I feel like is going to shape this room moving forward, whether or not he is going to be healthy as they move forward. That's going to be a big question. So Green Bay Packers wide receiver Christian Watson, who suffered a torn ACL on his right knee during the Week 18 loss to the Chicago Bears on January 5th, 2025, faces a recovery timeline that could impact his availability for the 2025 season. I want to say this too. I keep hearing this get brought up on other podcasts and on live radio. I'm with you, Chris. I see that. Savion, future X, kind of feels like an X receiver, man. He does. I know many people would disagree with that, and that's okay, but it does kind of feel like that. But they keep bringing up that the reason that Christian Watson played in that game was because Romeo Doubs had an illness. He was sick. And, I didn't really think about it at the time, and it is true. He did. He missed that game because he was sick. Christian Watson went out, suited it up, and tore his ACL, battling the other injuries. There's still people that believe that the ACL, this is a separate injury. The hell it is. This is how that works. When you're having to overcompensate for other injuries, where he was dealing with, what was it, a quad or a hamstring? It wasn't a hamstring. I think it was a quad or something. Knee bruise is what it was, opposite knee, right? And then he ends up tearing the ACL on the other knee. It's easy to just go, well, that was a different knee. He's just injury prone. Now you're overcompensating there is what you're doing. But they were pointing out that if Romeo would have just toughed it out and got out there on the field and played sick, then he wouldn't have even been on the field. I respectfully disagree with that opinion, because it was on the coaching staff to protect Christian Watson. That Bears game meant nothing to us. We ended up pulling the starters later in the game anyway, right? End up losing the game because we pulled all the starters. It's amazing how the Bears fans think they actually won that game too. But the reason I bring that up is because they should have protected Christian Watson. Of course, Christian's going to want to go out there. That dude's as stand up as they come. That guy, he wants to be out there with his teammates. It's just us. I don't want to hammer on Romeo Doubs too much here, but I can understand how people can look up and go, this dude battled injuries all day long or all year long in Christian Watson. And he's like, as soon as Romeo said he couldn't go because he was sick, he's going to go out there and lay it on the line and rips his leg. And I'm going to be real with you guys. There is a really, really, really good chance Christian Watson cost himself tens of millions of dollars. That's the reality of that situation. I hope he comes back stronger than ever and outperforms what he did before and makes even more money, whether it's with the Packers or anywhere else, because that's the kind of guy he is. But it's just a tough situation. I heard that said about Romeo, and I'm like, I understand that standpoint, but at the same time, I put it on the coaches and the trainers. He shouldn't have been out there, period. So you got to protect your players for sure. And he did. It was said, I think Christian even said it on social media or an interview or whatever, he wanted to be out there. He was not going to take no for an answer. So if we're going to defend the coaches a little bit, there's room for that too. So anyway, typical ACL recovery takes 6 to 9 months. But Watson's injury, which includes additional damage, they said he did all kinds of damage in there with some of the lateral stuff. So may extend this period. His father indicated on X that Watson could return around week 12 of the 25 season, aligning with a 9 to 10 month recovery. Watson has expressed optimism, sharing a video of himself on a treadmill and noting he's in a really good spot, while Coach Matt LaFleur praises his progress. However, with the injury's timing and complexity, Watson is likely to miss at least the early portion of the 25 season, with a potential return between mid-November and December 25. So realistically, we're looking at November, December, second half of November, first half of December type thing. And I did hear too, I think it was on Wildy and Tausch, they talked about the other day that I think a student at a local school asked him if he would come and hang out for some kind of, I think it was, I could be wrong here. I want to say it was some kind of a fundraiser for charity, like where they do like a walkathon type thing. And I think it was geared around cancer, fighting cancer, I believe. He showed up. Kids just asked him to come. Yeah, he's out there. He was out there walking around stuff. They said he looked good. Now, listen, he, like Wildy said, walking in a charity event's much different than running for a 60-yard bomb, right? So, but it is a good sign. What if he does come back in like October? When he does come back, I want him to be healthy. That's the main thing. I don't want him to risk hurting that leg any more than he already has, for sure. So, yeah. All right, moving along. That's, again, Christian Watson. That's going to kind of shape this wide receiver room. Essentially, what you've got is, for a good portion of the season, you have an open slot at the top of the depth chart. I mean, at the